might not be all the same, like whether it might be Allah in Muslim, or it might be Jesus in Christianity, or it might be the Pope in Catholic. I just started comparing everything, and I'm like, I can't hold myself to just Christianity when it's over 200 different religions. So I was like, I wanted to get as close to God as I could.
It's cool to learn something from everything and everybody.
I mean, I don't disrespect any other religion,
of course.
or I don't denounce any religion.
I feel the same way. I feel like anyone can teach you something, even a bum.
The Bible and other religions are extremely hard to read because they're written in allegory. They're written allegorical. Which
is like other languages or something?
No, allegorical means every time I read it, I've got a different concept from it every time I read it. So it's written, you can take it 2-3 different ways every time you read it. So it's very complex to understand. Okay. But when I got into spirituality, it was more clear cut. It was, okay, I'm connected right to the source God, and I'm going to follow my life within my truth. I don't lie. I speak truth. I speak my truth, and I live in truth, and I live in my truth, and I live with what I think, mind, body, soul. I'm in the gym 4 times a week. I don't eat fried food. I got a certain diet I stick to. So I live my life, mind, body, soul. That's my Trinity, and I correlate that within God. So this year 3 of that. And I've got amazing results from living like that.
Cool.
Right.
That's cool.
All right.
I have one question for you, and I'm going to let this go.
What's that?
And everyone has to go through their own spiritual journey with their experiences in life. So I'm not discrediting all of that. But can you... How do I say this? God is all around you.
Right.
Allah, whoever you want to call it, the cheese that grow, your body that moves.
Right.
You walk and talk.
Right.
But I get why people need to, but you went on a spiritual journey, but I didn't hear you say much about your past. So did you touch into your past and figure out why you're, why did you, okay.
That's exactly what I did.
So you wanted to know, why
backwards.
You act the way you act and do the things that you act.
Right. I started backwards in order to.
So you looked at generational.
Right.
You looked at
Right. And then when I started to dissect.
And what was your conclusion from all of this?
Well, my conclusion was, or my synopsis was, when I started to dissect certain things, that it didn't make sense to me. Like, they want us to follow the Bible, but the Bible was used during slavery as one of the biggest tools to decimate our mind.
Okay, so the one thing I can say to that is, I'm not disagreeing with anything you're saying. I don't look at it that deep and complex because for me, everything is very simple.
Right.
If you have one tool that you can insert everything into, that everyone in the world listens to, through what culture can you say this is the one thing that they put in place that has rules in it, has all these things? If I was a white man and wanted to control the world, which book would I go to?
I would say the Bible.
And you know that there's other pinnacles of the Bible, and depending on what they wanted you to know, they either stopped publishing it. So of the white world,
and it's been rewritten hundreds of times.
Yeah, and I do hear people, they say they talk. So God talked to me too. So I get when they say God talked to people or whatever. So I get that part. But what I don't get is, if I wanted to change, if I wanted to control a whole nation, what book would I go to? The Bible.
Right. I agree with that.
And what they said is that basically, if there was a chapter that was published that they didn't want you guys to know about, they just stopped publishing it.
Right.
Which is the way of the white world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If they don't want you to know something, they'll either just give you another version of it, or they'll publish. It's about money.
Right.
It's not about knowledge.
Right.
I can publish what I want to publish.
Right.
And I can build a million copies, and depending on what, depending on where I stand, I can be a president or a governor or whatever. If I want to push this agenda, that's how news is. It's an example of news. News.
Right. I don't watch the news. Because
I don't watch the news either because it's just depressing. But when I do watch it, you can just tell that, okay, if I have a propaganda that wants to say I'm for this or whatever, I'm going to bring people on that agrees with me. You know what I'm saying? There's a million and billion people in the world. Why do you bring this certain person on? When we're talking about the riots and everything, why are you bringing on celebrities? Like, yeah, someone grew up in the hood, someone didn't. But you know what I'm saying? But because they rap about these things, you're gonna bring them on? Like, come on now. It's just because of the platform they got to.
I don't agree with the movement.
You know what I'm saying? I agree with the movement.
I believe of the concept of the movement, but I don't believe the movement is organic because the movement is funded by a white man who's pushing.
Listen,
and that's a fact too.
So this is how I feel about that. It doesn't matter how far we get in life, we have to start somewhere.
Right.
So it doesn't matter who it's funded by. It doesn't matter like what's going on with that. The simple fact that they finally start to take notice of some things they haven't taken notice in before, and some things are changing.
Right.
I think that's a big step towards something positive. As far as how it got there and all of that, it's wrong. As far as how far it had to go to get there, that's wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as all the things behind it, it's wrong. We're not a token.
Right.
But we're being taken as a token right now. So, you know.
I refute that by saying, okay, you could say that they're expounding upon that and they're pushing the ball forward, but I can refute that by saying, when have you ever seen a black movement get pushed by white propaganda? Never. History will show you never.
It's always pushed by white propaganda because that's what we're fighting against.
No, I'm talking about an organic. The Black Panthers, what they did, they killed all of them and put all of them in prison.
We're fighting against the white propaganda. So when you say, how is it not pushing against it? Or I don't, maybe you're saying,
no,
maybe,
what I'm saying is,
maybe I'm not understanding the question.
You had white people, and you had a lot of white people during the Black Lives Matter movement going harder than black people. And what I'm saying
that's because they finally got a glimpse. That what happened to George Floyd was so cruel.
It was
inhumanely cruel. Right. It wasn't white people, black people cruel. Right. That shit was so immense. Like, even if you saw that happen to an animal, you would feel bad. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So it didn't even, I don't think it mattered at that point about race. Like, Joe Biden, all them being like, anybody could have ran against Trump right now and been into office. You know what I'm saying? So some things is kind of, God put it at the right time, the right place, and the right, you know what I'm saying? When everyone was still, right. You know what I'm saying? And they got to witness something so.
Right. I mean, it was very impactful. It really,
yeah.
But at the same